The assassination of President John F. Kennedy happened while he was riding in his heavily secured motorcade through downtown Dallas. At the time, he was accompanied by Secret Service agents and a full police motorcade, not only present at the scene but also monitoring the entire route under FBI surveillance. However, despite these precautions, an attack occurred on November 22, 1963, resulting in his death. Shortly after the incident, the CIA, FBI, and police responded. Despite having so much power, they couldn't involve anyone else in their conspiracy except a person named Lee Oswald. Did they intentionally exclude others from their plan, or did they not want to involve anyone else? Was this a well-thought-out plot, or just the action of one individual who managed to shoot the world's most famous president from just a few meters away? The truth is that just 1 month before the assassination, he got a job at the depository just with one phone call. But how come till now the girl seen wearing a scarf in the shooting scene footage, making murder photographs, couldn't be found, and what was her connection to all of this? The death of President JFK plunged millions of Americans into grief, yet the investigation into this case has failed to answer many people's questions. It seems that the top secret agencies have hidden a lot regarding the assassination and haven't made much public. There are many reasons for such thoughts, among which the first is the venue selection where the president was supposed to go. The president was to give a political speech in the city of Dallas, Texas. For this purpose, two venues were considered. One was the Women's Building, and the other was the Trade Mart. It was the White House's recommendation to select the Women's Building, but the Texas governor wanted the president to go to the Trade Mart. The reason for this was that the interior condition of the Women's Building was not suitable for the president to enter. Finally, on November 14th, the Trade Mart was selected, but this news was not made public. Now the challenge was how to bring the president from Love Field Airport, where his plane was supposed to land, to the Trade Mart. Normally, the president's motorcade takes a route with minimal stops or turns. There was a route that could have taken the president from outside the city directly to the Trade Mart. Instead of this, a route was selected that passed by the school book depository, from where the shooter attacked the president. If you think that this route was chosen to attack the president, then you're mistaken, because it was done at the president's own request as he wanted to pass through crowds of people. However, it was crucial for the assassination of the president to select the Trade Mart. As you know, the Trade Mart was selected based on the recommendation of the Texas governor. There was no suspicion about this because when the attack on the president occurred, he himself was sitting with his wife. He was also shot but survived, and secondly, the governor was already against this route. He wanted the president to be brought to the Trade Mart from outside the city. The president's motorcade and venue were only made public 3 to 4 days before. This indicates that this information was not known to anyone earlier. However, something happened at the school book depository 2 months prior, which suggests that this information was already available to someone. In September 1963, there was a shortage of staff at the depository, and Wesley Frazier received a job offer call. Wesley Frazier lived half an hour away in Irving. He reached the book depository the next day and was hired. A month later, Wesley's neighbor also applied for a job here and got hired the next day. Wesley's neighbor was none other than Lee Oswald, who was to be arrested a few days later for the murder of President JFK. Lee Oswald didn't have a driver's license, so he didn't go home. Instead, he rented a room nearby. On weekends, he would go home with Wesley, and on Monday mornings, he would go to the depository with Wesley. This routine continued for about a month. However, the routine changed the day before the president's death on November 21st, as that Thursday, Lee Oswald went home with his neighbor. He said he would be staying in Dallas for the weekend. When Oswald left his house in the morning, he had a long paper bag in his hand. He claimed it contained curtain rods that he planned to install in his room. About half an hour before the assassination, Oswald was present on the 6th floor of the depository with some of his colleagues. It was noon, around 12 o'clock, which was lunch time, and most employees went to the 1st floor to have lunch. However, Oswald remained on the 6th floor to watch the president's motorcade. Many people had gathered outside the depository to watch the motorcade, and some employees even watched from the 5th floor. At around 12:30, the president's motorcade arrived. The president was seated in the back of the car on the right side, his wife on the left side, and the governor on the right side in front of his wife. As soon as the president's car took a left turn from the book depository, the entire area echoed with the sound of the first gunshot. By chance, the entire scene was being recorded by a reporter with his camera. Some people claimed that 2 shots were fired, but others heard 3 shots. 1 shot hit the president's throat and another hit on his head. The limousine's driver sped away without waiting, but unfortunately, the president was fatally wounded at that moment. Immediately after the first shot, a motorcade officer observed someone firing from the 6th floor of the depository. Without wasting any time, he entered the building. When he reached the 6th floor, there was no one there. Within moments, the police and FBI sealed off the entire building, preventing all employees from leaving. However, one employee was missing, and it was none other than Lee Oswald. Lee Oswald had possibly carried out these actions. After leaving the book depository, he had gone back to his room, changed clothes, and grabbed a pistol before fleeing. Police were on the lookout for Oswald, and when a patrolling officer spotted him, Oswald fired 4 shots at the officer, killing him instantly. Oswald then hid in a nearby movie theater but was soon apprehended by the police. Over the next 2 days, Oswald underwent intensive interrogation by the police, FBI, and CIA, but no recordings were made. On November 24th, as Oswald was being transferred from the police headquarters to jail, a man shot him in front of everyone. Oswald was taken to the same hospital where John F. Kennedy had been taken but succumbed to his injuries there. Some people argue that Oswald might not have been the person seen from the 6th floor window. Before being shot, Lee Oswald kept insisting that he was innocent. After President Kennedy's death, multiple reports were issued, but each report only added to the confusion surrounding the case after Oswald's death. Many people claimed that he was killed by those who had orchestrated the entire plan. Some believe that the FBI or CIA may have been involved, especially considering Oswald's background as a former U.S. Marine and his prior surveillance by the FBI. During the investigation, several crucial pieces of evidence disappeared.